Hey, how you doing? It's Chef Tom over at the Cardinal Cafe. Today we're going to work on a white bean chili. With the temperatures getting a little cooler outside, we're going to start making some more heartier dishes. Having just washed our hands, the first thing we're going to do is grab our gloves. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with cutting an onion. Now remember, the most important thing is a sharp knife, okay? We're going to go over this every single time we do one of these filmings, is that your knife has to be sharp. A sharp knife will slice, a dull knife will tear. You always want your knife very, very sharp. And what we're doing with this onion today, we're just going to do a fine dice, because this onion and chicken is what's going to start the base of our chili. When you cut an onion, you take it down the middle first, and then you just take this outer skin and you just peel that whole thing off. And that's going to make your onion just a lot cleaner and easy to work with. You're going to take and you're going to cut the ridge of the onion, and then you're going to take it this way. Okay, you're not going to cut all the way through. And then we're just going to take it, and look at how beautiful a diced onion you get there. I want you to remember to always use the claw formation with your fingers. Okay, always keep that thumb behind your fingers, because if you don't, you will very easily take the end of your thumb off. That's not anything we want in any classroom. We're going to take the second one, and when you get a little better at this, it gets a little easier. And that sharp knife just goes right through it. Take it this way. Give it a quick turn. Okay. And get those onions in our bowl. And now, the first thing we did on our cutting board was our onions. And that's because we still have to cut up chicken. You never want to follow chicken with onions. You always want to work onions first and then chicken, because chicken, you're always going to run the risk of having salmonella present. So you never, even if you're going to cook those onions, you never want to cut chicken first, okay? The only things that we're cooking for the hot part of the meal are chicken and onions. We're not going to cut anything else other than that. So now we can go ahead and do our chicken. Again, super careful. We're going to have to cut parallel to the cutting board, because we're using a random chicken breast, and a random chicken breast is a nice fat chicken breast that we got to take down a little for dicing the chicken. And again, you just want to let your knife do the work, okay? And these knives are razor sharp, and that's what you're going to want every single time, is a super sharp knife in your kitchen. And see, that just rolls right through. You notice my fingers are in the claw position, so that I don't have anything out front that can get cut. The nice thing about fingers in the claw position is that you may scrape your finger with the knife, but you're not going to cut it. Where if you have your thumb out here and you're cutting, that's what's going to happen, okay? You want to use the claw with your thumb behind your fingers. We're just going to take this chicken and put it in our bowl. And we're going to do our other half. And I know I continue to talk about the sharpness of the knife, but the fact of the matter is a dull knife would never slice through this chicken this easy. And then we're just going to finish this up real quick. And we're going to put this chicken in our bowl, and there's our chicken for our chili. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn around to the stove, and we're going to start cooking. Okay. All right, we've got our chicken diced up, and we're going to go ahead and fire up our pot for our chili. We're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil. just a couple tablespoons. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit about this chicken, you can certainly use ground chicken, ground turkey, whatever you want for your white bean chili. But the fact of the matter is that I use chicken breast and dice it up because I like to know exactly what's going on with the meat I'm using. And not to say that that's an issue with ground meat, I just prefer using whole muscle meat. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with our chicken. And we're just going to move this around this pot a little because the fact of the matter is we don't want to totally cook it right now. We just want to get it to the point that it gets started cooking. We're just going to let that go for a little bit. All right, at this point, we want to go ahead and grab our garlic and get that in the pot. And what you're going to notice at this point is that already you're getting this amazing smell coming up from the pot. All right. Let's go ahead and grab our spices. What we're using for spices today is we've got black pepper, salt, cumin, and oregano. And we start out with a teaspoon of each. Honestly, chili is very personal to people. You can use as much or as little of these ingredients as you want, or you can put in some of your own herbs and spices. This is just what I like. And I'd be lying if I said we didn't put in a little extra garlic powder and a little extra onion powder. Just because I like to fortify my flavors. I like to really build it up. Yeah, our chicken's looking really good. Oh man, it smells amazing right now. You're toasting all those nice herbs and spices. Now, with the chicken right here, this is when we start adding our other ingredients. We're going to get these nice green chilies in here. A lot of flavor there. We're just going to give that a little stir. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw in a couple of onions. We're going to get those right in our pot. We just want to get those cooking with everything else. And now we're going to want to let this cook for a full minute or two just to start getting these onions cooked up a little with our meat. And honestly, I like to use equal parts of chicken and onion because I really like onion. And I think that, you know, it adds a lot of flavor. I've never worked anywhere where somebody said, take that back, it's got too much flavor, okay? This is the real deal. And you can see that our onions are cooking up nice. Everything's looking really great. We're just going to give that a minute and we're going to take a look over here. So, one of the things that I really like to do is when I make white bean chili, I like to use a little tiny bit of roux to thicken it up just a little. Because even after my sour cream and my heavy cream are in there, I just like to tighten it up a little. Because basically the sauce to this is one of the 5 mother sauces. It's a bechamel. And we will at some point go through all the mother sauces. But the 5 mother sauces, we remember it by Better Hope Tomorrow's Very Exciting, Bechamel, Espagnole, Hollandaise, Valoux, and Espagnole. I think I got those in the right order. So now you can see in this pot that our onions are breaking down just a little. Smells delicious. This is right where we want to be. So we're going to go ahead and grab another spatula and our butter. And we're going to switch these burners so that you can see the roux being made, because roux is simply 1 part butter and 1 part flour. Okay? We've got some nice soft butter here. We're going to get it right in our pan. And our chili is just cooking up a storm. It's absolutely perfect right now. And you can see our butter melting. And as soon as that butter's melted and hot, we're going to add our flour to it. And now that our onions are nice and cooked down, we can go ahead and grab our corn and get that in there. It's just a mix of some white and yellow baby corn. Super fresh and delicious. And you know, one of the things that you're going to find out about me the more we cook together is that I don't like processed food. Because really, it's so easy to cook really great food without using a bunch of processed ingredients. You know, scratch cooking is very easy, and it's actually pretty quick once you start getting the hang of it. So, our butter is just about ready to incorporate our flour. We just want to make sure that we try and use even parts of butter and flour. We're going to get that last little butter melted up in there. There we go. Now, the one thing you don't want to do is brown this roux. With this being a light colored bechamel sauce, you just want your roux to be lightly cooked. Okay, you don't want to overcook it, because if you brown your roux, you're going to wind up making your sauce a different color than you want. It'll be darker than what you want. So that right there is where you want your roux. And all that roux is nice butter and flour, equal parts. Now, our soup, our chili, is absolutely perfect and ready to add our sour cream. We're going to add about 1.5 cups of sour cream here. We're going to go ahead and stir that in with everything else. And the funny thing is that at this point in the process, everything starts to leach a little liquid. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch these burners again so that you can see what's going on in this pot. And you can see that sour cream is just looking really great in there. And now we're going to get our cannelli beans. Now here's an interesting thing about these beans, is that I like keeping the juice on the beans because it adds flavor to your chili. A really interesting thing about the juice from cannelli beans is if you're making a vegan meringue, you can whip up that juice from the cannelli beans and it'll get frothy just like egg whites. It's very interesting. All right, so now our beans are in here. This is starting to look like some really great chili. Now, at this point, I like to go ahead and get my heavy cream in here, because we're not going to boil this. We're going to let it come up to a hard simmer, but we're not going to boil. Now, we're just giving it a nice stir. And now we just need it to get hot to the point that we're steaming. And once we get good and steamy, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this roux in there. And then we're going to turn that heat down and just let it simmer. Okay? So at this point, I'd like to go back to the cutting board and we'll start cutting some garnish to go with our white bean chili. Hey there, here we come with a really hot pot of white bean chili. You can see how beautiful and thick that is. We've gone ahead and incorporated our roux. And now, just before plating, we're going to go ahead and we're going to work a little garnish magic, okay? Again, super sharp knife. I like a few jalapenos on mine. Take the jalapeno, just slice her down the edges like this. And that way you're not dealing with any of the pith or the seeds. And you just take her, lay her out like this and give her a quick slice. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and add that to the jalapenos that are in our cup that are ready to go. And now we are going to change knives because we're going to work on this avocado next. And the thing is, in a segment before this, we talked about avocados, how easy it is to cut yourself when you're opening up an avocado. So always just take your time. You never have to be in a hurry when you're doing this, okay? And sometimes you get a surprise. They're not always perfect, but we can get what we need out of here to make a perfect product. Okay? We're going to take a slice that way, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to peel it. Okay, and we're going to do this, the other side at the same time. There you go. That's what we're looking for, okay? And we're going to take that, and we're just going to take a few perfect little slices right off of it. Okay? And now we'll get rid of that brown at the top. And that's what we'll have for a garnish for the avocado. And now we've got this cilantro. Now, cilantro, we can go ahead and use the same knife as we did for the jalapeno. And we're just going to grab a little handful of this cilantro, and we're just going to start cutting her. Okay, there doesn't have to be anything real special for this. We just want to break it down. And when you're chopping the cilantro, you're going to notice the really fresh smell that comes out of this. It's so delicious. And you know what? We're going to take one handful of this cilantro and go right into our chili. Boom. Beautiful, okay? We're going to stir that in. Yeah, look at that. Now, for all common purposes, this chili is totally done. I'm going to grab some fresh gloves, and we're going to dish up a bowl and garnish it. Why am I changing my gloves so much with this food? Because this is ready to eat food, okay? Ready to eat food, you always have to use gloves. Earlier when you saw me cutting up the chicken and the onions, I didn't necessarily need gloves for that because that was food that was to be cooked yet. But with ready to eat food, you always need your gloves. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dish this up. Just take our time so we get it all in the bowl. And we're going to set this guy over here. Now, when it comes to garnishing, we're just going to take our time, grab our knife, and just lay on this avocado. Okay? We're probably just going to take a couple of these little jalapenos, put them in a little pile down here just in case somebody doesn't want them. They can easily scoop them out. We'll put that cilantro on over there. We've already got our crackers on the plate. Bam, that is perfectly ready for service. I hope you enjoy this recipe. If you're looking for us to do something that you want to see, you can email us at tbelisle@kcpublicschools.org. Thanks, have a great day.